Good morning, Chris Snellgrove here, and I'm here with Bill Courtwright.
Hello, everybody.
We are about to begin the Marketing Secrets Revealed webinar series. The first one is the 5-star reputation marketing blueprint, and we will begin in just a moment. We're letting a few more people join. So, Bill, this is my favorite webinar out of all the webinars we do because this is what we do. And this is our formula for reputation marketing success, and we give it away here today. We always tell people you can do what we do. It just takes someone really committed to the time each and every week. You got to have some technology and you got to have some level of expertise. So we're going to share with you our exact reputation marketing strategy on how you can execute this yourself. Let's see. Got a few more people joining. We'll just give it a few more minutes. Meantime, we have a guest today that joined us. This is our team mascot, Mr. Gizmo. All right. So we're going to share our screen and we're going to get started. Okay. So again, hello, this is Chris Snellgrove. Good morning. I'm here with Bill Courtwright, and today we'll be sharing the 5-star reputation marketing blueprint. So when we talk about online marketing, Bill, there's a lot of different components, right? When we meet with a new client, we talk about all the different elements, the different areas of online presence. You got reviews and ratings, reputation. You've got local SEO. That's basically helping you get found in local search results. Social media marketing, of course, is one of the most popular today, probably the most cost-effective way to expand your brand. Your website, of course, making sure it's up to date, making sure it has lead capture, trust triggers, which we'll talk about. Then you have lead nurturing, which is your list, the list that you generate on a regular basis, communicating with that list through emails, through video marketing. Then you have paid traffic such as PPC, display ads, social media lead gen, and then you have search engine optimization, which involves, of course, links, backlinking to your website, content, blogs, white papers. So there's many different components of online marketing. Today, we're going to focus on the reputation piece.
What I like about our previous webinar is Chris described the online marketing process almost like a layer cake, and reputation served as the foundation for everything that would come forward. And there's a reason that reputation is the most important. We live in an environment with zero click, where if people are looking for an industry, an area, or they're searching for anything followed by near me, especially from a mobile device, if you don't have a high quality and quantity of reviews, specifically in Google or Facebook, these customers or potential customers might never even make it to your website. They may never see the efforts that you're endeavoring in SEO or paid traffic. So it's paramount that your entire online presence be built on a sound reputation, leveraging the voice of your customer, staying up to date, and that earns you the right to essentially go into the other areas, because those are the areas where you actually prove the claims that were made through that zero-click environment of Facebook and Google. So it's the foundation, and it's the foundation of which all other digital marketing should be built.
Exactly. We will open up the to Q&A at the end. So please, as we go through the presentation, go ahead and drop your questions into the chat, and at the end we'll go through those. We do have a bonus at the end. This is a white paper that we released recently, and this is our complete online playbook. Again, our formula for how to transform your reviews into revenue, our exact process. It's a 14-page, in-depth, detailed playbook on how to execute this strategy that we'll be covering today. So we'll give you the link to this at the end. So let's begin today with a question. Let's say this person leaves your place of business and they're not happy. In fact, they're pissed off, and for whatever reason, let's say they ran into an employee of yours that was having a bad day, or maybe a new hire that wasn't quite trained on all the processes that you expect that person to have. The question we have is, do we ask this person for a review? Yes or no? More importantly, do we want a review from this person? That's the more important question. So we're going to answer this question in a little bit. We'll come back to this. So, Bill, why do business owners do reputation management today?
I believe they're doing reputation management today because they want more customers. They want more ideal customers. And they want happy customers walking in the door, expecting a positive experience. And the voice of the customer is what sets you up for success. So reputation management really gets things started off on the right foot.
Yeah, I mean, business owners they want more reviews, they want higher ratings, they want to rank higher in local search results. They want feedback from their customers. But ultimately, like Bill said, they want to attract more new customers. But how does traditional reputation management, which involves review generation, review monitoring, review management, and responding to reviews, how does this translate into attracting more people to your business? Okay, so really what has to happen is for you to take reputation management to the next level. And that's what we're going to talk about specifically with our strategy. So we begin the conversation with, what does a business need to communicate to attract new customers? You know, what's the favorite lead source of any business on the planet, Bill? Referrals, right?
Absolutely.
But why are referrals the favorite source?
Well, because when people, you can't edify yourself. And if the world says it's so, it must be so. The voice of your customer is what people want to see and hear, because that's what ultimately builds
trust. So when people come in that are referred to your business, they already trust you because of something called transference of trust. When a person tells a family or a friend about your business, that trust that they have in that business transfers to that person. And when they walk in the door, they're 65 to 75% more likely to close just because of the trust factor. So trust is very, very important, and every business needs to communicate trust. But how do you do it? The easiest way to do it is using the voice of your happy customers. And this next statistic is probably one of the most important we'll ever show you. This is why we do what we do, because today, according to Bright Local, 84% of consumers now trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations from family and friends.
Right.
So if 84% of people are trusting reviews as much as personal recommendations, that means you can use reviews to build trust to attract people to your business. So how do you do it? Well, you need a defined strategy. You need to transform those reviews into marketing assets, and that's where reputation marketing comes in. So we like to say there's reputation management, but next level is reputation marketing. And that's what we're going to share with you how to do today. So really there's 4 steps. First and foremost, you got to focus on your customer experience. Okay. If you don't focus on your customer, who will?
your competitors.
That's right. We always say you better be focused on your customer, because if you don't, somebody else will, and that somebody else is your competition. The next part is review generation. Review generation not only gives you the feedback you need, but also provides you with marketing assets that we're going to talk about in a moment. And then the management. Of course, you got to manage the process just like any other part of your business, just like HR, insurance, billing, you got to manage this process too. And then lastly is the marketing. And that is the process of transforming the reviews into marketing assets and using them to attract more people to your business. So let's begin with customer experience. Every successful organization on the planet focuses on customer experience. And I would say that the organizations that don't are clearly not as successful. Would you agree?
100%.
So let's take a look at 2 very large companies. Now, would you agree that these are a vastly different customer experience? You know, there's one reason that we ask people, and you can put this in the chat here, why do people love Walmart? There's a single reason. Let's just see. Let me get this chat. Just throw it in the chat there. What's the one reason people love Walmart?
That's right. Yep.
Price. Low price, right? I've never had someone, tell me I go to Walmart because of the customer experience, but we will hear I love Target because of the customer experience. So it's very tough often to have the lowest price and the best experience. Typically lower price is going to equal a lesser customer experience.
Yeah. And there's absolutely no market advantage to being the second low price leader. So think about that. If Walmart establishes itself as the low price leader, Target knew that we have to do something different or better, because there's no benefit in the market to having 2 low price leaders. You can think about that in any industry. If you're not the low price leader, or if you're second to the game, you better find a way to differentiate yourself in a different way. And Target's differentiating factor was service. It was experience.
Yep.
It's still a value in many ways. They still sell a lot of the same products, but I know, speaking for my wife, she will go into Target, come out with a cart full of stuff because of the experience, never once considering if she could have saved a few bucks at Walmart. So
People will pay for experience.
absolutely.
We often ask people, what do you like about Target? Like, what is the difference between Target and Walmart? And they say the store is cleaner. It's more organized. You get better customer service. If you asked a associate in Target where something is, they're going to walk, just point.
It's not the khakis.
That's right. That's right. The famous Target khakis. And we've all heard the term Target. Your wife doesn't shop at Target. It's Target.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, let's take a look at one other company. Let's see if I can get what fast food restaurant exemplifies superior customer experience? I don't care which one you go to, where in the country, this fast food restaurant always exemplifies superior customer experience.
Throw it in the chat. Let's see, we'll get the first answer. Which fast food restaurant exemplifies superior customer experience? We're from Georgia, reminded.
And they're all over the country except
There it is. There it is.
Chick-fil-A. Absolutely. Yep. Everywhere. It doesn't matter which one you go to, where you go to. Typically, they have cars wrapped around the building at lunchtime. When you go in, if you say thank you to any associate at Chick-fil-A, what's the response?
My pleasure.
Yep. And by the way, Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, did not come up with that on his own. He actually borrowed it from a popular hotel chain when he was visiting one, and he thanked the bellhop, and the bellhop said,
Four Seasons, right?
It was Ritz-Carlton.
Ritz-Carlton.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Ritz-Carlton. They said, Truett Cathy said, we're going to take this to fast food. And it took a while to implement, but it's ingrained in their DNA. They trained their staff not only during orientation, but constantly on guest experience. And they must, because Chick-fil-A doesn't offer discounts.
No.
And a family of four goes there for dinner, it's going to be close to $40. So it's not cheap.
Once again, there's no advantage to being the low price leader. You can get a cheaper chicken sandwich, and there's no advantage to being the second cheapest. What they wanted to be is the best. And in that regard, it removes price from the equation. And people will pay for quality, they will pay for experience, and Chick-fil-A does it better than anybody else.
They'll pay for value.
Absolutely.
So let's take a look at some best practices. And let me just move this chat thing out of the way now. So best practices to create a culture for superior customer experience.
So it's my opinion, anytime we're talking about culture or ingraining in your staff or team members or marketing a way of doing business, it is my recommendation that an organization first begin with the end in mind. What is the purpose? I'm a big believer through leadership of transparency, communicating the why to our team members so they thoroughly understand the underlying meaning to the activities that they endeavor throughout their day. We want our social media coordinators and our digital marketers and our web developers and our search engine optimization specialists to understand why they do what they do and how what they do benefits the bottom line and experience of our clients. It is extremely important that everybody in this organization understands what Chris and I get to experience every day, which is that overwhelming gratification you get from an excited and happy customer. So we believe in transparency and communicating to our team members why we do what we do. That's what culture is. It's beginning with the end in mind. And although Chris cleverly built this as a circle because it is a cycle and it is ever present and ongoing, you have to understand that in order to market a positive experience, in order to leverage positive reviews to attract new customers, you have to be quite cognizant of that positive experience. So if we begin in the upper right-hand corner, right around 2 o'clock on this diagram, we have to provide an excellent customer experience. That's what CX stand for. And there is a tremendous 7-8 figures every year in big business, Fortune 100 and 500 companies spent on analyzing and improving the customer experience. It starts with training. It is our opinion that when you communicate to your team members, specifically the first interaction with a customer or patient and the final interaction with a customer or patient, you make it known and understood the gravity of that interaction and why it's important and what we're trying to accomplish. What we're trying to accomplish is an experience like no other, an experience that delivers as promised, and an experience that Seth Godin calls remarkable, which is to say people want to talk about it when they leave. It's been said in business, if you have one happy customer, you have one happy customer. If you have one upset customer, you can have 10 upset customers, because people are more likely to share a negative experience. If that's the case, and it is, we as business owners have to bear the responsibility to get the happy customers to share that happy experience. That is our responsibility. We set systems and processes in place for our clients, whether it be through signage or texting. We're going to go into the specifics in a minute, and you can find all of this in the blueprint that you're able to download at the subsequent to the webinar. But we want you to understand on this call is we have to take responsibility and ownership and be accountable to the fact that positive customer experience is our responsibility. And when done properly, and when a customer or patient is pleasantly nudged to share that experience, they will, and reciprocity kicks in. So the process is to first provide an excellent customer experience. And it's our opinion and belief that when your team members know why it's important, and they know that it's part of the marketing game, which is to say it's part of the amplification process of your business to attract more customers, they're much more likely to take note of every conversation they have, every smile that they engage with, the eye contact, the pleasant greeting, the prompt greeting, the clean office, whether it's the smell, the look, the feel, everything is part of that experience. Think of experiences as every aspect of our five senses working in concert to create an environment like no other, a Target environment, a Chick-fil-A environment, because price in this case is not going to matter. No one is going to tolerate poor experience for very long because they're saving a few bucks. Once you've provided the excellent customer experience, we then want to gather feedback. That's the review generation. We as an organization make that easy. We can talk about that later. For those that have worked with us in the past or work with us currently, they know that we put a lot of technological thought and effort into making sure that the review generation is done timely, that it's done accurately, and that it couldn't be simpler. So you have to gather feedback. Then you have to manage that feedback. What does that mean? Well, what that means is don't just get a review and think your job is done. You have to read that review. You have to respond to that review. Dare we say you have to learn from that review, because it's the information you need to make better decisions, different decisions, improvements going forward. So you have to manage that feedback. Well, guess what? Once you understand that feedback, you cannot keep it a secret. You need to share it with your team members. They are the most important part of a positive experience. Your happy staff, your happy employees will create happy experiences. I have never been in an organization where I would describe the experience as positive in front of someone who is smug or unhappy. They have to be happy. Your team members have to be happy for your customers to be happy. That's why when we seek out ideal clients, what we're looking for organizations that love their teams, that love their staff, that pour into their staff and teams, because those organizations are the organizations that also love their customers, clients, and patients. And customers, clients, and patients who are loved lead to future and growing locations. We do not want to be associated with businesses that are seeking to mask or cover a poor experience. We want to be associated with organizations that believe wholeheartedly, with every fabric of their being, that positive employee experience leads to positive customer experience, and positive customer experience leads to growth. That's it. There's nothing we can do as marketers that it's going to change that. What we want to do is be your amplification engine. We want to be your mouthpiece and your megaphone to share to the world how great you do your work. If you're not doing your work greatly, there's nothing we can do to improve the process. So first you have to start with, how are we treating employees? How are we training and loving on our employees? What are we pouring into our team members? And are we keeping them abreast of how important their interactions are with our customers? If that's the case, I promise you, we will have marketing assets to promote. And the final stage of this circle is, you should be marketing your customer experience. You should be sharing your commitment to culture with your customers. Customers want to know what makes you tick. They want to make purchasing decisions based on the organizations that operate in a way similar to how they would operate, or how they would like to be operated too. And that's why marketing that customer experience, marketing and leveraging the voice of the customers, having the world say it so, and putting it in their mind, because what you look for, you will find. And when future prospects come into your door considering doing business with you with a positive expectation, I promise you, those on this call who deal with customers on a daily basis know that is quite pleasurable to deal with. People who are expecting a positive outcome generally are more happy. People who expect to be treated unfairly, they come in and they're very difficult to turn around. So if you begin with the end in mind, that we're going to be marketing the positive experience, and you provide excellent customer experience from the get-go, and you bring your teams into the process and establish a culture of ownership and accountability and reward, whether that's compensation or validation or a, wow, I really like the way you handled that. You're a part of our process and we appreciate you. When that's the way you're running this process, it becomes second nature and ongoing, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that takes care of itself going forward. So this could not be more important. Chris is going to go into much greater detail on the things that we just discussed. But if you had 5 minutes of this webinar to replay over and over again, it would be my opinion that would be it.
Yep. And just to put a bow on that, an example of this is Richard Branson. Richard Branson's one of the richest billionaires in the world, yet he flies on his airlines with the public. Yeah. And he does that to gather feedback. He said he gets an opportunity to go and get feedback directly from his customers. And of course, the media's heard about this, and guess what? They marketed it out.
Absolutely.
So that's a kind of a high level, but I love the fact that he goes down and talks to his customers and gathers that feedback.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's see. The next step is generating reviews. Of course, that's going to give you the feedback, and of course, it's going to give you the marketing assets. So we're back to the question. This upset woman has left your business, and do we dare ask her for a review? Yes or no? So let's see what the chat says. Let's put it in the chat. And do we want a review from this woman? Yes or no? Yes.
Good job, Gabriel.
Why in the heck would we want a review from her, Gabriel? She's mad. We know what she's going to write. Well, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
Yes, to learn from it. Yep, absolutely. Love it.
Probably more importantly, if you have an opportunity to engage with someone after a less than positive experience, you can take great strides in deflecting some of that negativity from the internet. So you can actually take responsibility and lessen and mitigate that negative experience. Not only will you learn from it, but just the attention and the validation and the recognition of their frustration is deflating in a good way. What'll happen is that recognition, that attention, it shows a level of importance, it shows a level of concern. And you've heard the cliche, no one cares what you know until they know that you care. When you talk to these people, positive or negative, and show that is something that you are concerned with and interested in rectifying, you're going to be much more likely. And as Chris says all the time, no one wants to learn about a negative experience on Google.
Exactly. And let's say she walks out the door, we don't ask her for a review. What is the likelihood of her ever coming back to this business? We call it the silent killer. They walk out and guess where they go? Your competition. They're not coming back. So getting feedback from unhappy customers, we tell company owners all the time, negative reviews can be good for your business. Now, no business owner wants a negative review, but use it as a learning experience. And really, it's the way you respond that can really help you the most. So the answer is yes. So there's different ways to generate reviews. The first and foremost, way that we believe is ask. Okay, but just asking for a review and not having any other methods isn't very effective. You got to give people an easy path. You got to get your staff involved in the process. They got to understand the why, and then they have to understand how to give people a quick, easy path. The other thing is timely. It needs to be done on a day-by-day basis. Asking someone for a review a week or a month later is not the best. They're not going to. Typically, your conversions are going to be much less. So, the timeliness is critical. You want it done as soon as they leave the business, and you got to make it easy for them. If it's not easy, they're out. So make it easy, and then that's where the technology helps. There's many software programs that you can get. So there's different things. There's signage. The QR codes are back in full force with COVID. That makes it super simple for people to scan that QR code and leave a review instantly. Emails, of course, review cards, and then text messages. So with the signage, with the emails, with the review cards, and the text messages and the conversations, there's 5 different ways that you can generate a review from a customer. And sometimes it takes this to let people know. The signage lets them know that you first and foremost care, and makes it easy for them to leave a review. Some people like to or like to communicate by email. Others like to communicate by text. The review cards are more of really a reminder for your staff member to have a conversation with people when they're leaving. Hand it to them. So all these things together produce a very synergistic effect and lead to more conversions. We've got one client that converts as high as 17% of his monthly traffic to online reviews, and that is huge. That equals about 60 Google reviews every single month that he's going up.
Just a plus on that, when Chris talks about the conversations, I think it's probably easier and more common to thank a customer as they leave your business. What's less common and infinitely more valuable is the conversation. And I just want to underline that point, conversation. When you ask someone a question, how was your experience? I can think of the target. Did you find everything you were looking for today? And I'm thinking, I wasn't looking for any of this stuff, but it's here and I'm buying it. So yes, I understand. But the conversation happens typically with a question. How was everything today? Have you found everything today? Did you feel you were cared for? How was your wait? If you know they were in the waiting room for 25 minutes, if there's an elephant in the room, write it. Talk to them about it. How did you feel about the wait today? Well, 25 minutes was more than I expected. Just talking about that and just addressing it can deflate and really mitigate the aggravation or frustration that can come from that. When you're having conversations, there are statistics that show that customers and patients are 83% more likely to leave a positive review after a positive experience, but yet only 7% do. The difference between the 7% and the 83% is that the 7% were typically asked. So when you have a conversation and that conversation comes back with positive feedback, that is a green light and a blinking neon sign saying, get a review right now. If there was a not so nice experience, the fact that you took the time and showed concern and discussed it with them and then thanked them for their honest feedback and their transparency, because that's what we as an organization use to better serve the customer, to better serve you. Chris does a great job of explaining how to put the benefit back on the customer. We need this feedback so we can better train our staff, so that we can better stock our shelves, so that we can better prepare for our next encounter. And it's that feedback that allows us to be our best self. So we want to be better for you. We appreciate this. That's the conversation. It's easy to say, thank you, have a good day. That's fine, that's pleasant. That does not attract more customers. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's been said there's no traffic on the extra mile. Take that extra mile step. Go there. Have the conversation. Appropriate time. Put it in their checking out process. Whoever's taking their credit card,
Absolutely.
who's ever getting that last conversation, that's when that conversation has to take place. Whether it be before you give them back their credit card, whether it be before you schedule their next appointment, there has to be a conversation before they're leaving, because that's when that review or that positive experience or even negative is going to be more likely to be received.
Yeah, we believe that the conversations are absolutely critical. First and foremost, people like when you ask someone to do something for you, they know it's important to you. The other thing is, every business on the planet right now is asking for reviews. So, in some form or fashion, but it's important to put the benefit on the customer, as Bill was saying. So when we train our clients on how to generate or how to have a conversation with a customer, put the benefit on the customer. Thank you for coming in today. By the way, you're going to be receiving a review request by email and text. And really, please take a moment and give us some feedback on the experience, because it really helps us get better at serving you. I put the benefit on the customer instead of the business. And that little nuance is so critical, because it works. People feel like, okay, I'm going to give you that feedback to help me and my customer experience the next time I come in.
And all people, this is a product of just our evolution, I suppose, are 3 times more likely to give whatever it is that you're asking for when you give them a reason. So book recommendation, if you've ever read Never Split the Difference by Christopher Voss, he talks about how people, just by saying, can I cut in line? I'm going to miss my flight. Can I take your spot or whatever? Just by giving because human beings are inherently empathetic. And as soon as they understand the reason, whether it's true, right, wrong, or indifferent, they're 3 times more likely to give you what you're asking for. So by saying, as Chris said, because this helps us to serve you better, everything that happens after the because makes it 300% more likely you're going to get what you ask for. Now, without manipulating the situation, just think of how much more powerful and how much more persuasive and how much more motivating we could be as leaders when we're explaining ourselves to the people in which we lead, to the people in which we serve, to the people in which we try to motivate, inspire, or inform. We need to be more transparent in this process. Information, inspiration, and influence is what leads to what it is that you're trying to gather. And this is your opportunity. Don't be afraid to state the reasons why. If you're asking for reviews to grow your business, this is how we grow our business, that's fine too. Profit's not a bad word. We live in a capitalistic society, and the ability to grow and better serve your community is all that you need to say in order to explain why this is important. If they care about you and they've cared about their experience and they want to see you do well, COVID has proved if you give customers the opportunity to vote with their dollars, they will vote for the organizations they want to see win. Become an organization that your customers and patients want to see win.
Absolutely. The next step is management. So some of the best practices there is monitor all the review sites 24/7. You new review notifications. So this is where software comes in. And again, we have software, but you can get software in many different places that provide this level of monitoring. Set up instant alerts for negative reviews. Really, you should get a daily email with all reviews, and then try to get instant reviews on negatives. You want to take care of those in a timely fashion. We believe in housing all your reviews in one location to make it easy. And then the other thing is responding to reviews. Responding to reviews is a major algorithm for Google. So when a company doesn't respond to reviews, they're going to push you down in the search results. So Google looks at that. So responding to every single review is absolutely critical. And technology definitely helps here. The software, trying to do it outside of having a software dedicated to it is sometimes challenging. Some of the do's and don'ts for responding to reviews. Do thank the reviewer, show appreciation for customers' honest feedback. And again, we see some companies will address negative reviews, but simply don't even respond to the positive ones. And really, if a person goes out of their way to thank you for the experience by writing your review, as a company, you should take the time to thank them for writing that review.
And it's really just a matter of being congruent with the conversation that led up to the review itself. When you're telling people that this is a big part of your ability to serve the customer positively or better, or your ability to grow, or your ability to stick around and be in business and have the wherewithal to bring that great service or product, thanking them is really the bow. It's the final piece to that process, and it will perpetuate further and more reviews when people can see that they genuinely do respect the time it took. They genuinely appreciate what I did to leave this review. And people today, regardless of age, they really need to be validated. They need to have their behavior recognized and acknowledged. People want to be seen and heard. More so with younger generation, 18 to 35, if that's your market, you've got to go over and above to let them know that you see them, you hear them, you appreciate them. I don't think there's a cutoff, but I think John Maxwell says, how do you know someone needs encouragement? They're breathing. All people want to be validated. All people want to be encouraged. And this is how you encourage this behavior. That which gets rewarded gets repeated.
Yep. We don't recommend asking customers to remove the review. Instead, just acknowledge their complaints and try to solve their problems. This is an important one, because no business that we know of likes negative reviews. And we've heard of people asking for customers to remove the review. If you do the right thing and address their concerns, most of the time they're going to take the review down, or they can change it. So the most important thing is addressing their concern and letting them know that you care, and then they'll change it on their own. Also, think of negative reviews as a learning experience. Again, use the information. And I say this because not every, you're not going to make everyone happy. And we understand this. Every business owner needs to understand that you're going to encounter people that are walking around unhappy in their life. When they come into your business, they're going to write a negative review. The public knows this too. So it's the way you respond to those that is the most important. If someone is unreasonable in their expectations of the experience, responding to that person without taking the high road is so very important instead of getting into a back and forth. We recommend a templated response for all negative reviews. So sorry to hear for the less than perfect experience. We strive for excellence in every customer encounter. Please contact so-and-so at this email or phone number. We want to hear more. That is like the best way to respond to a negative review. So if someone's reading those reviews for a company, they're going to say, wow, this company really cares. Don't respond right away. Again, sometimes responding right away can be very emotional. We've had clients respond in the healthcare industry, right away and violate HIPAA. So you got to make sure that you're not violating HIPAA too. There's a lot of regulations surrounding HIPAA when it comes to responding to reviews, especially with patient confidentiality. You can't disclose any kind of protected health information. Really, you're not even supposed to acknowledge that they're a patient. So there's, we tell people to get creative on the review responses, except in healthcare. In healthcare, you have to stay pretty vanilla. So we wrote an entire white paper, if you're in the healthcare industry, on how to respond to reviews being HIPAA compliant. And don't feel like you have to spend or respond publicly. You can private message people for extreme cases. Try to take the conversation offline. You don't want to get into a back and forth on a review response.
Dennis, I saw that you raised your hand. We will have Q&A shortly, and that is the appropriate time to ask your question. So please hold that thought. But I saw that you raised your hand. We'll definitely get to it.
Okay, the marketing. This is this is where the magic happens. Taking your reviews that people write wherever they write them, either at Google, Facebook, Yelp, taking that review and transforming it into a marketing asset is so important today, because if someone writes you a great positive review, unless someone goes to that particular review source, they're not going to see it. So repurposing it into a marketing asset and then distributing it, we call it a trust trigger. Using that review as a trust trigger. Use that review to really build trust in your local area that you're the company to do business with. You definitely want to focus those trust triggers on your website and social media channels. So this is what it looks like. Nick wrote a nice review, and then there is a plugin on Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist website showing that review off. So again, it's taking the positive experiences that your customers have and using them in your marketing to build trust, to attract more people to your business. The website, the more trust triggers you have on your website, the better. We're going to talk about this at length in a few minutes, but we recommend as many places as possible. If you go to our website, you can count 16 different places where we have trust triggers. And again, more trust triggers equal more conversions. More conversions equal more new customers.
That's right.
Next is social media. Social media offers a very unique opportunity to really use those positive customer experiences, broadcast them out to Instagram, Facebook, promote them. It's important to not only post them, but to boost them to your local area. And you can boost these beyond your fan base. So again, this is putting your customers to work in your marketing. You definitely want to boost it, and you definitely don't want to take up more than 25% of the image with text. We've seen, companies do this incorrectly, and they'll take all the text and fill up the space. Well, Facebook says the text cannot occupy more than 25% of the image of the post. So keep that in mind. Do not use more than 25% of the post with text. And then we always recommend a call to action. If you're getting someone excited about the experience by showing off a positive review, give them a link. Where? To your website. You're now taking someone off social media and you're taking them directly to your website. So if they hit that link, they probably have some level of interest in using your services. Here's some other website plugins. Again, there's many different plugins you can get. We have a really enhanced one where we like to show off the customers' faces. We grab the actual reviewer's profile pic from their social media or their Google profile and portray it. So that one's a really cool one. We call that the best. There's live feeds that you can get. In healthcare, you do have to initialize the last name to be HIPAA compliant. Some other trust triggers on your website. Video testimonials are golden. So the more video testimonials you can get, put them on your social media, put them on your website. Case studies are huge. Review banners, you can get carousels. And if you do business with any other like large companies that people recognize, use those logo as validation. Yeah. Again, this is all building trust. The more trust you build on your website, the more conversions, the more new customers. Okay, so the benefits of doing all this, when you put a reputation marketing strategy in place, first and foremost, you're going to communicate trust in the local market by using the voice of your happy customers. Every business on the planet says, hey, we're the best, come do business with us. But what consumers tend to believe today is what your current customers say. What you're saying, Bill?
If the world says it's so, it must be so. And if we say it's so, it's likely met with skepticism.
That's right. Next, you can capture leads from social media. By broadcasting those positive experiences out on social media, you can get leads that lead to new customers. You can convert more website traffic. We've talked about that. You improve your customer experience by focusing on the feedback, by putting that feedback loop into place. You're going to be able to improve your customer experience. And then ultimately, you're going to increase new customer counts and increase revenues. So, you have anything to add to that?
No, I'll just say that this entire process is people will find that which they look for. So when the expectation is this place has a positive experience, people have recommended that your business because of its positive customer service. The product or service deliverable within your organization is industry best or leading edge. Well, that expectation makes for a completely different dynamic in your business. So really what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for success by planting the seeds of expectation in a positive way, because people will find what they're looking for. And there are many different examples. You can think about an introduction to someone who's, someone introduced you, say, oh, you're going to love this person. They couldn't be sweeter. They couldn't be funnier. They couldn't be more polite. That is your expectation. That's what you look for. That's what you find. And the opposite is also true. If you hear something is going to be less than fantastic, you're not as likely to see the value or the quality in that encounter because what you look for, you will find. So this is extremely important. There's tons of psychology and experience that is in play from Chris when he does this, and we're hitting this on a very high level, and we go much deeper in the marketing playbook that you can download. But just know there's a tremendous amount of market research and technology and psychology that goes into this.
Yep. So we're going to drop this link into the chat, but now we want to open it up for any questions that you have. So let's just go to chat. We'll go to Q&A. Let's see. Oops. Chat. Okay.
I know Dennis had initially raised his hand. I don't know. Dennis, did you still have a question?
How do I get my team excited about getting reviews? Well, you should know, Mr. Greenberg.
That's right.
Have a truck talk. That's what we recommend. This is one of our clients who actually each and every week will do a truck talk for his 60-person team, and he'll give shout outs to the people that have their names in the reviews, which is absolutely brilliant because you're really rewarding those people. And I'm sure more and more people are trying to get their names in those reviews.
Yeah, and I believe Mr. Greenberg is also the president of the Reputation Sensei fan club. So if you haven't been asked or invited to join that email list, reach out to Kerry Greenberg. We'll be sure to send his cell phone number in the email.
What is the name and author of the book you mentioned? What was it?
Dennis, I mentioned a couple, but I think the Christopher Voss wrote a book called Never Split the Difference, and it talks about what's called tactical empathy and how to best understand not only your team members but your audience, and how to operate in a way that gets people motivated to see things the way in which you see them. So if you're interested in that book, it's called Never Split the Difference. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on that. And Christopher Voss did a TED Talk, which is pretty awesome as well. Voss, V as in Victor.
Yep. Another great book is Excellence Matters by Schultz, who actually helped the Marriott family build the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
So Excellence Matters.
Okay, Gabriel, how would you recommend addressing a negative review from someone that is not even a client of your practice? Can you ask for it to be removed?
Yes, you can ask Google. You can challenge that and ask Google. There's no guarantees, but you can ask them to remove it. You can dispute it.
And obviously, Gabriel, I would, if they're representing a family member or someone who had sometimes it's worth investigating. So they may not have been a patient, but they may be related to a patient who had a negative experience and might not be comfortable leaving a review. So I would operate first with the understanding that it might not be fraudulent. It could be that they're representing someone else, and treat them as if the review, positive or negative, first is worthwhile. Take the conversation offline if you can to dig deeper, especially in medical healthcare related. It's not uncommon for a loved one, having seen how the experience affected their family member, to actually write a review. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I would first seek to understand, because it could be that they're representing someone else, in which case you'd want to find that out.
Yeah, you definitely want to put a public facing response. You can even put, we can't find you in our system, but we want to hear more. Please contact me at this email address or phone number. Any more questions? Okay.
So was this helpful?
How can we implement
Wonderful.
new ways to track if we get new patients from our, let's see, like new ways to track if we get new patients.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm sorry, we're just reading the questions as they're coming in. They come in fast. Okay.
So how can we implement new? We'll send that link out to everyone that attended the Reputation Marketing Secrets. How can we implement new ways to track if we're getting new patients from our post? You could actually do instead of just a link to the website, you could do a form fill.
Yeah.
And that would produce a Facebook lead, and you would absolutely know that they came off the Reputation post or the review post. So do a form fill Facebook lead.
Yeah, Ms. Delaney, I would say that one of the beauties of digital marketing is the quantitative nature of your efforts. The fact that we can track every click, every moment, every lead, every interaction and engagement. You can really track that down to the penny. So if you're getting leads from an effort, it's important to know exactly how many, what the cost for each engagement was, or the cost for each opportunity, and Facebook makes it quite easy. There are other tools that we can implement. We could discuss if you had some more questions, but yeah, there's all sorts of ways. You should be tracking everything, and we can help you with that.
And Dennis, will some of the language used to write responses? Yes. Dennis asked, will some of the language used to write responses to reviews be in the paper at the end? There are some responses in there, but we have many different templates we can actually send you. So just send us an email with that request and we'll get it out to you. But there is some language in the playbook on how to write responses.
So Dennis, we will both email you the link and some of those responses.
Yes.
It's the least we could do, so it'd be our pleasure. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, there'll be a recording. We will send out the recording. Absolutely. So thank you all for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. And everyone have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.